friends. First of all, let me introduce myself to you. I am Akshay and I'm currently a senior associate with the Boston Consulting Group. Prior to this, I've worked for around 2 years with Accenture Strategy. I have done my MBA from XLRI, and prior to that, I have done my BCom honors from Shriram College of Commerce. I've also 2 years of pre-MBA work experience, which included 1 year of running my own startup, which got funded and got acclaimed at national and international level both. So in gist, I would say that I have experimented quite a lot in my short professional career, and that basically helped me live with no regrets. So today I have no regrets that I did not try anything. So I've tried everything, I gave my best, and here today I am speaking in front of all of you on the topic of economic security. Economic security is a very general term, but let me contextualize it a bit further. So this session would focus on various aspects of handling personal finance, right? I would urge you all to learn how to handle your personal finance, because when you start your careers, when you start your jobs, you'll get very busy. So you should definitely work hard and work smart during the initial years of your career. That's a given. What does it mean? You will not have mind space while working. So better to give your mind space to productive things, right? So you would want this particular aspect of managing personal finance to be sorted before you get into the game, right? So for that, please utilize those 2 to 3 months to plan out well, and then execution should happen in parallel, right? So starting with the rules of the game. First, it should be, as I said, should be well planned. It should be well planned and reviewed regularly. It may be reviewed 3 months every quarter or every 6 months. So you should have a clear plan on what amount of money you will be getting every month and what amount of money you will be spending every month, you will be saving every month, and what are your obligations in the short term as well as the long term. So first rule is to plan well, and the key objective of this session is also to help you plan, right? So second rule of the game, it should be documented. The biggest lie that we tell ourselves is that I need not document, I will remember. This is the biggest lie. No one remembers. You have to document it in order to implement it. Third rule of the game, it should be very simple to execute. Any complex model will not work. So very soon you will all start earning, right? Now the big question is that how to manage that amount that will come into your bank account every month, right? So you will either save it or repay your loan. I'm assuming that majority of you would be having educational loans, and then there is no other loan apart from educational loan. And then third would be you like to spend, right? Now that you have started earning, you'll want to spend on various things. So before going into the usage of the amount earned, I'll first talk about how to maximize the amount earned. So for that, there are 2 key things that you can do. Either optimize for the CTC to in-hand ratio, because there is a big difference, right, between the CTC and the actual money that you will be getting in your bank account. So we need to demystify the difference between the two and optimize for taxes, which is the key differential between the two, to the extent possible, so that you get more out of what you earn. And second is additional source. This we'll talk about later. So first, let me talk about tax planning. Now you might be thinking that, hey, I'm not from a financial background, or I do not understand taxes, so why should I do it? I'll give it to my father to plan, or my mother to plan, or I'll hire a chartered accountant who would do this for me. But it doesn't work so well that way. My personal recommendation would be to do it yourself. Even if you don't do it yourself in entirety, you take help from your friend or whatever case might be, you should definitely have an understanding of the tax structure. right? So that in the long term and for the short term also, you can plan for various investment vehicles. You can take several decisions yourself, which no one else can do it on your behalf. How to do it? You already have 2 to 3 months. February, March is the time when most of you would be free from your colleges, and most of you would be starting your jobs by May or June. So you will have 2 to 3 months. So I would recommend you all to read Salary Taxation. This is a chapter contained in all the leading taxation books. So this is a small chapter. You will not take too much time. Just go through it and then optimize for your own taxes. And also with tax planning comes tax filing and compliances. So this essentially involves understanding the Form 16 that you will be getting from your employer and filing the ITRs at the end of the financial year. So there are various deductions under section 80, and 80C is one of the most famous deduction section that is available, and there are around 10 to 12 investment options that are available under this. So the maximum limit is 1.5 lakh. Although different people would want to invest in different investment vehicles under section 80C, but my recommendation would be to go for Provident Fund, which is a statutory requirement, and then using the rest of the component through ELSS. Why Provident Fund? Simply because it provides you long-term security. It gives you rate of interest which is around 8.5%, which is much better than other safe investments like FDs, etc. And there are various tax benefits on the income earned on the Provident Funds. Why ELSS? ELSS is basically investment in mutual funds that provide you tax benefit. This investment vehicle is most liquid as compared to others. These can be liquidated within a period of 3 years, and also the rate of return that you usually earn on the long term is higher than other investment vehicles. So prefer these two investment vehicles under 80C and fill 1.5 lakhs. If you have any other components also like repayment of principal amount of house loan, etc., then that can be also utilized, but I am assuming that there is no other loan apart from the educational loan for you. Section 80D primarily provides you deduction for various medical insurances that you may have. Many of you would be covered by the corporate insurance schemes already, so you can skip it for yourself, but you should make sure that your parents have a medical insurance in place. This section will also provide you a deduction of around 25,000 for yourself and your family, or 50,000 in case of elderly parents. So there are several age criterion under this which you can study. I link section 80E with paying off the loan, which is the component in our main equation. So the key question is that in how much time should one pay off the educational loan? If we keep the psychological impact of the loans aside, talking from financial aspect purely, the answer is 8 years. Why 8 years? Because Income Tax Act provides you tax deduction benefit up till 8 years on the interest of educational loan. I'll tell you how it works. Currently, educational loan rate of interest is around 7%. And assuming that all of you are under 30% tax slab, so you will save 30% of 7%. So net rate of interest is 4.9%. Believe me, this is the cheapest source of finance you will ever get in your life. So the most prudent choice would be to elongate the period. So basically take educational loan for the longest possible time that you can get, 20 years or 30 years, with whatever your bank allows. But at the end of 8th year, just do a bullet payment and get rid of the loan, because after 8 years, you will not get any benefit. So now that we are done talking about maximization of earnings and the time duration of paying off loan, now let me talk about savings. Under savings, before answering the question of where to save, as in what to invest in, first of all, one needs to follow this 4-step waterfall structure. The first and foremost step is to understand yourself, right? So if I talk about myself, love for gain, I would say for me, is lesser than hatred for loss. So in short, I'm a risk averse investor. So an investment in crypto market, for example, may not be suitable for me because I do not have that kind of a risk appetite. So first of all, you should understand yourself and eliminate all the investment vehicles that do not match with your investor's profile. So the first recommendation is don't rush into crypto market or equity market. First, understand yourself. Once you have full understanding of your risk appetite, only then think about these two markets. And even if, let's say, you have the risk appetite, first learn the nitty-gritties of equity market and crypto market. Learning these markets and demystifying and then taking it up on a regular basis is again quite cumbersome. So that is not recommended initially, and hence the best way out for you during initial phases of your career would be to invest in SIPs. So SIPs are structured investment plans. So these are regular amounts of money that will be deducted from your bank account and invested in mutual fund schemes. And then there will be an expert who will be handling your money. So you need not worry about handling your money well. So that expert, that mutual fund manager will take care of your money parked with him or her, right? So second is time horizon. So second, you need to understand the time for which you can park your money aside, right? So if, let's say, you invest at a particular level, it may happen that in the short term, the value of your investments go down. And if you require money at that point in time, then you will have to exit at a loss. But in order to avoid such situation, be very clear on the time horizon. If you are planning to get married, or if there is any upcoming event in your life that involves huge cash outlay, then you should invest only for that amount of time. The golden rule is lesser the time horizon, more liquid the investment should be, right? And if you don't have that kind of time horizon, just avoid equity market. So third rule is return on investment. Simple rule, higher the ROI of an investment, better it is, right? And fourth is ease of handling. Again, time is money. You have to channelize your energies into productive things. So the earlier recommendation of SIPs that I just gave you fits into this criteria as well, because SIPs are deducted automatically from your bank account according to your salary date, and you need not worry about the return coming from it and the various aspects of handling and investing and doing the transactions on a regular basis. So you need not worry about anything. So let me just cover the remaining recommendations. I believe second recommendation is avoiding illiquid investments at this point in time, because this relates to the time horizon aspect. Avoid investing in real estate because the yield that you'll get from real estate is pretty low. If real estate investment is something which you are looking for beyond financial perspective, then you can consider that. But otherwise, don't invest in illiquid investments. And avoid low yielding investments like I've already talked about, FTs, etc. So avoid those kind of investments. So Warren Buffett said that you should first save and then spend the rest, and not the other way around. Believe me, you have to decide the amount that you need to save on a monthly basis and only then decide how much to spend. This mix may differ from person to person, but in general, you should try to save around 30 to 40% of your monthly earnings. The loan repayment, the educational loan repayment, according to my recommendation, would come to around 10%. So spending should be around 50 to 60%. Now, coming to the question of what to spend on, right? So these are the key do's and don'ts under this. First of all, let me talk about don'ts. So don't spend a lot on material items which are depreciable in nature. It is better to invest in stories, invest in making memories rather than having more and more things which are not required. Invest in traveling at this point in time because of the transformational changes that we have seen in the corporate world. Now more and more companies are open to the concept of working from anywhere. Invest in whatever hobby that you always wanted to pursue, right? Because it's never too late to start something. And pursuing hobbies in parallel to working in a corporate setup increases your productivity as well as helps in reducing the stress that is associated with the corporate life. And third is learning. a person should continue learning throughout life. I cannot imagine any person being financially secure who is not learning. And apart from these do's and don'ts that I've talked about, the basic thing about food, shelter and clothing is an assumed spending within this 50 to 60% ratio. So you just have to sit down and write what amount is sufficient for you, and then maintain that amount month over month and track the spending on these items on a regular basis. Now let me just come to the question of how to spend. Nowadays there are multiple payment options, multiple mobile applications. Now what to do in such a scenario? Different mobile applications are offering different types of cashbacks. So what to do? So the golden rule is to have 2 bank accounts, 2 credit cards and 2 wallets. One primary and one secondary. And do not increase the number of bank accounts, credit cards, wallets more than 2, right? Because more you have of these, more clutter you will have in your life, more bank account statements, more credit card statements that you'll have to deal with. So just cut the clutter, save your time and channelize your time into constructive things. Second is credit card usage. The key recommendation is to maximize the credit card usage. What do I mean by maximizing? I'm not saying that you start spending more through credit card. What I'm saying, whatever you are spending, spend through credit card. So there are 2 aspects to why I'm saying that credit card usage is good. First is the upfront reward rate. So nowadays there are many cards that give a reward rate of 2%. So you spend 100 rupees, you get back 2 rupees, right? So that's a huge amount. And the next thing is interest-free period. So on an average, maximum period is 52 days, but let's say on an average, there is an interest-free period of 30 to 40 days. So you end up saving around 0.5 to 1%. So in totality, you save around 2.5 to 3% on your spendings. And that's a good amount. And that's something which is coming to you for free, right? So why would you not avail that? So now that we have talked about the earnings and various components of it, in conclusion, I would just say that plan well, execute well, and then monitor well. So these 3 things are very important. I hope that I was able to provide you some bit of direction as to where you should head towards while it comes to managing your personal finance. Thank you so much.